Welcome to Fireside Nets, brought to you by Empire Sports Media, a Brooklyn Nets podcast hosted by me, Spen Harris, my brother, Nick Shanman, and this is a
Sounds like you
live.
lost your. Did you lose your voice? Why is your
I
voice so
did,
crackly?
yeah. I'm not sure. I was in New York City this weekend, had a nice little birthday dinner. Shout out to me. Happy birthday on March 14th. The Nets lost to the OKC Thunder for my birthday. And we are now, Nick, about to react to the Nets' latest loss, their fourth loss in a row, this time at home to the pesky Cleveland Cavaliers. Some might call them the old look Nets because they feature Karis LeVert and Jared Allen, two former Nets. This was a pretty ugly loss as far as losses go. Box score is going to make it look much closer at 115-109 Cavs win. But the Cavs absolutely dominated the Nets in the second quarter and the third quarter, outscored them 38-25 in the second, 33-23 in the third. Nets made a push to end the game, just wasn't enough. Nick, talk to me about this game. What were some major things you saw from this Nets team that led to the loss tonight?
Well, first, I would like to react to your outfit, what you're wearing. Spen's wearing a straw hat, like a scarecrow would wear, blue tinted sunglasses that are extremely large on his face, and a matching blue t-shirt that says "Best Dog Dad." You look like a Make-A-Wish kid whose last wish was to go to Hawaii.
Okay. Is that part of your roast? Is that like a roast joke? Roastafari.
Anyway, that's a good Andy Samberg joke.
By the way, you're just mad because I got style, I got swag, I got a jump shot in the bag, unlike anybody on the Brooklyn Nets. Could we be honest for a second? Their high scorer for the game, Nick, was Day'Ron Sharpe. He had 20 points in 20 minutes.
Who hit a three at the end of the game there, and he shot it and you almost knew it was going in, ironically. Listen, we lost 115 to 109 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. They moved to 46-28 and fourth place in the East. We are in sixth place in the East at 39-33. We are now 2.5 games back to the Knicks in fifth place and a half a game ahead of the Miami Heat, who are behind us in seventh place. The Bucks and Celtics already locked in their playoff spots. Right now they're sitting in 1-2. I mean, we're now trickling down, Spen. If I'm looking at the standings, the Hawks in eighth are now only going to be 3.5 games behind us, as well as the Raptors in ninth, who are in the same boat. Bulls 4.5. So in 10th, we really, rounding the stretch here with 10 games left in the season, are not as stable in a playoff position as we'd like to be. This is where we need to start winning games, not be on the tail end of a 4-game losing streak. For, I think, the fourth time this season, I heard Iron Eagle say that we've been on a 4-game losing streak. I saw in this game a drastically different game than the box score. You'll see 115-109. We lost by 6. Anybody watching might say, oh, wow, that was a relatively close game. It was not. We were down over 20 for a couple minutes in this game. We were constantly fighting to get it within 10-12, and we struggled to do so. We went on this stupid run in the last 2 to 3 minutes. Meaningless. It was, you know what it was, Spen? It was the worst 2 to 3 minute run you could ever watch as a fan, because you couldn't turn it off because we were trickling our way back, but you knew deep down there was no way we were going to cut 15 points in like 3.5 minutes. So it was almost like, I'm not going to turn it off because there's a 1 in 10,000 chance there's a Christmas Day miracle here, but I knew it wasn't going to happen. It didn't happen. Every time we needed a big three, the Nets went for 2. Every time we needed a big rebound, Jared Allen or Evan Mobley got an offensive rebound instead. So an annoying last 3 minutes of a game that gave you a glimmer of hope, and the rest of the game, honestly, despite the first quarter being a little more back and forth, kind of halfway through the second quarter, we lost control of this game. The story is we don't shoot well. We don't shoot well in the clutch. Dorian Finney-Smith has yet to show up as a Brooklyn Net. He has yet to put
That's not
2
true.
games.
He had 1 or 2
He has
games.
yet to put 2 games back to back.
That's fair.
Where you're like, why is this dude getting decent minutes on this Brooklyn Nets team? I mean, it's tough to watch. We're still finding our identity. Spencer Dinwiddie's the guy, but then he's not the guy. We want Bridges to be the guy, but then he goes quiet with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. I mean, I know we'll dive deep into it, but overall disappointing. And I'm actually, listen, do I think we're championship contenders right now? Absolutely not. But am I worried we might slip out of a playoff spot? If we lose 50% of our games, these 5 out of these last 10 games, and one of those teams I mentioned, like the Hawks or the Heat, go on a big run, the Heat are looking good right now. This is now dangerous territory from 10, 15 games ago when we were in 4th or 5th in the East, feeling like we were sitting pretty.
Yeah, so a few things. Christmas Day miracles rarely happen in March. So I'm not really sure where you were going with that analogy. We'll start there. Secondly, hard for a team to come back, and you talked about it being pointless in the fourth quarter. The only thing it did was delay our podcast start time. We wanted to start when the Nets were down, I think 19 or 18 in the fourth, and then me and Nick said, hold the phone. Let's see what they can do here. It's hard to come back down double digits with less than 3-4 minutes left when you don't hit 3-pointers. Not only did you not hit 3-pointers, you were scared to shoot 3-pointers. The Nets were 9 of 33 from 3-point land, 27.3%. That is atrocious. 2 Nets.
Compared to the Cavs, 14 of 29, 48%, which is above their season average, above everybody in the league season average. But with that said, still terrible on our part.
Yeah, I mean, you had 3 Nets who hit at least 2 threes each. Cameron Johnson, 2 of 4 from 3. Joe Harris, 2 of 4 from 3. And Royce O'Neal, 2 of 6 from 3. Otherwise, Mikal Bridges, 0 of 8 from 3, 9 of 21 from the field. I love Mikal Bridges, but I think we're starting to see, teams are figuring him out a little bit. They just are. They're bumping him off his spots. But B, he's starting to get a little bit fatigued down the stretch in games. You can't blame him. He plays a ton of minutes. He does not
on both ends of the ball.
On both ends of the court. But he had a quick, I think he had over 10 in the first half. He finished with 18, 9 of 21 from the field. Just you can't have that as your number one. And Dinwiddie, 19 points, 6 of 14 from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, 6 of 8 from the line, 11 assists for Dinwiddie. He was the only starter who was a plus in the plus-minus game. He was plus 12, Spencer Dinwiddie was. I like this stat line for Dinwiddie, 19 and 11. Here is the problem, Nick. If Bridges is not going to get over 20 and Dinwiddie is not going to get over 20, where the fuck is your scoring coming from? We're going to get into that in a little bit, but the main difference, I'm sorry. Let me just say this last part. The main difference to me between the Cavs and between the Nets, it wasn't the size of the Cavs front court. It wasn't the skill of the Cavs backcourt. It was the fact that the Cavs have 4 to 5 guys who can score whenever the fuck they want. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Karis LeVert. And you know what? Throw C.D. Osman in there because he can get a bucket. And I'm not even talking about Jared Allen because I thought Allen got outplayed by Claxton Sharp tonight. So that's the difference between the Nets and the Cavs. The Nets have 4 to 5 guys who can get a bucket whenever they want. The Nets have maybe 1.5 right now.
You know the difference between Donovan Mitchell and Mikal Bridges? Both two-way players, both the best scorers on their team right now. But what separates Donovan Mitchell as an all-star from Mikal Bridges, who is not an all-star, and I will say Mikal Bridges was on a Suns team where he was that 3rd or 4th guy. He was not given the opportunity that he has on his Brooklyn Nets team. Donovan Mitchell is a career 36% three-point shooter. But when that man gets going, he can hit a shot from anywhere on the court with anybody in his face. As you saw in that second quarter where he started to heat up, drilled 2 threes back-to-back, no hesitation, right? Donovan Mitchell did the same thing against that Nuggets in that series when the Jazz and Nuggets a couple years ago, him and Jamal Murray, shot after shot after shot. And that's what separates an all-star and a superstar from an above-average player and a decent scorer. Mikal Bridges, and again, this is a lot to put on one guy after going from the number 4 in Phoenix to the number 1 in Brooklyn. He needs to start separating himself from his, I don't want to say from his game, but from what he's accustomed to, right? The reason we're not trusting him in the fourth quarter because he's never been in that situation before. He only knows his fundamental mid-range game. And his mid-range game might be the best in the league. It's like him and DeRozan and Durant, to me, are the only 3 that have that consistent of a mid-range game.
Joel Embiid's mid-range game
okay,
is
sorry.
nice.
I haven't counted big men. Jokic could hit, Anthony Davis could hit. But I'm talking kind of 2-3 guards, KD 3-4. but guys who you want the ball in their hands with a couple minutes left. Mikal Bridges has a long way to go to make that jump. He doesn't have that gene in his body yet where he can flip a switch, hit a shot from anywhere because his team needs him. That's why we're still going to Dinwiddie in the clutch. Because despite Mikal Bridges being a more efficient scorer than Dinwiddie has that. He's that guy. He has that dog in him. And so we're always going to trust him. And you could tell when the clock's ticking, Mikal Bridges shies away to the corner of the perimeter. He almost doesn't want the ball in his hand. We have Royce O'Neal taking more threes in pressure minutes than Mikal Bridges. Even Cam Johnson shooting more than Mikal Bridges. So that, to me, therein is an issue, but that'll take time to get Bridges to kind of train that mindset. I also want to point out, you said Claxton outplayed Jared Allen. We out-rebounded the Cleveland Cavaliers in this game, who are arguably bigger than us with Allen and Mobley, by 15 rebounds overall, 11 offensive, 49-34, 19-8 on the offensive glass, and yet we lose the game. We had more assists, more blocks, more steals. The whole thing, stat-wise, all came down to the Nets beating out the Cavs in every category except field goal percentage. And at the end of the day, I hate to say it, we could play phenomenal defense. We could out-rebound the shit out of two great bigs, and we can pass the ball well, limit our turnovers. We're still not going to win if the right guys don't step up in the right situations and hit big shots. That's it. That's basketball. We don't have Kevin Durant anymore. We don't have Kyrie Irving anymore. We lack that trust in crunch time, and that's what inevitably makes us a weaker team than these guys with Donovan Mitchell's, than these guys with Kevin Durant's.
The honeymoon period for this new look Nets team is officially over. The first game they played together, and I'm not talking about the win they had against Chicago where Dinwiddie basically carried them to a win, but that game against Philadelphia when they lost, it was a close game. Mikal Bridges had a layup that just rimmed out. Those were the new look, exciting Nets. It was the honeymoon phase. There was a different energy in the building. It was a bunch of guys who just wanted to prove that, hey, just because KD and Kyrie aren't here doesn't mean we can't compete. And now teams are starting to kind of figure us out a little bit. The Cavs picked us apart on defense. Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Karis LeVert, they had their way with us tonight. Look, there was a rumor that came out a few days ago, basically rumored that the Cleveland Cavaliers would welcome a first-round matchup with the Brooklyn Nets. That was the report. And, you know, if you're the Nets, you come into a game like tonight at home, you gotta punch back. You gotta take a stand and say, hey, we're not an easy out. Tonight, the Nets were an easy out.
With that said, though, right now the Cavs are projected, if the standings stood the way they are right now as of Tuesday, March 21st, the Cavs would play the 5th seed Knicks, and we would play the Sixers in the 3 seed.
And if I'm the Cavs, I'd much rather we somehow get on a roll and beat out the Knicks for the 5th seed.
And if I'm the Nets, I'd much rather play the Cavs than the Sixers.
Agreed. I agree with you. I don't want to gloss over the fact that Donovan Mitchell basically forced Yuta Watanabe into early retirement mid-game.
He should go.
Maybe the dunk of the year. Donovan Mitchell absolutely put Yuta Watanabe on a poster. Why
after the Cavs stole the ball from Watanabe.
Right, from Watanabe. Why Watanabe thought it was a good idea to jump with Donovan Mitchell? I don't really get that. I don't get that strategy. You can't jump with him. He's got more bounce than anybody on the court. Why even bother? He did. He took the chance, and it absolutely made him look like a little bitch boy. And I love Yuta Watanabe. The one thing that has been upsetting me, he stopped shooting threes. If he's going to play on this Nets team, he needs to shoot threes, Nick. He was
shooting like 55% from three at one point.
He was 0 of 1 from the field in 11 minutes, 4 rebounds, 1 turnover, and 1 posterization that he was on the receiving end of.
You know, I got to say, if you're going to be Yuta Watanabe in the situation and Donovan Mitchell's about to yam on you, I would just push him. Like, I would just punch him in the face. Like, that was so humiliating and such a momentum turn. Get a fucking flagrant one. Like, just knock him out.
You know who fouls hard on the Brooklyn Nets? Royce O'Neal. Royce has some hard fouls. I like the way Royce plays. And I also want to shout out to Evan Mobley. 17 points, 8 of 12 from the field. He's a player, man. Mobley's a good player. He's going to get paid a lot of money. He's going to be a force in this league. They're so deep that he gets overlooked because Mitchell's a monster, 31 for Mitchell. Garland's great, 17 points, 6 assists for Garland. Allen chipped in 12. Osman came off the bench. He hit 4 threes in a row. He had 12. Levert had 18 off the bench. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Cavs in double figures. The only 2 other Cavs that played had 0 points, Isaac Okoro and Lamar Stevens. So, yeah, I mean, look, we get a chance to play these guys again on Thursday. Hopefully it's a different result. But, man, oh, man, the Nets need to figure it out on offense because I think that defensively, yeah, in the second and the third, they struggled against the Cavs. But offensively, the fact that Day'Ron Sharpe was your high man with 20 points says a lot about your team.
It's really sad.
Don't laugh.
It was really sad. And I also want to say, hey, for all these Nets listeners out here, we went on this 4-game losing streak. We still don't have Ben Simmons, who looks like he's in his prime right now. I'm telling you guys, Ben Simmons comes back, game over, entire season's changed. History may tell you otherwise. I don't think so. He's been teasing us, guys. He's ready to come back, full throttle, win a championship.
Listen, I do think that the return of Ben Simmons, it's going to happen, whether it's this season, next season, whether it's with the Nets or with a different team. Maybe he plays in China. I'm not really sure. But I will tell you that Ben Simmons will eventually play basketball again somewhere. Maybe with the Nets. All right. This is the 4th loss in a row for the Nets, and they've been in a little bit of a slump recently. We're not going to go over the other losses. I just don't think it's worth it, but I think it's worth noting. Tuesday, we were playing the Thunder. We were actually playing great in the first half. We're talking last Tuesday on March 14th, my birthday. Everyone was super pumped in that first half. Nets looked great. Dinwiddie looked great. Nets were moving the ball. All of a sudden, Thunder come back and just smack us in the second half. Absolutely obliterated us. They take that game. We play the Kings on Thursday, March 16th. The Kings beat us at home. We then play the Nuggets. The Nuggets beat us, absolutely smack us around at home. By the way, the Thunder lost 121-107. The Kings lost 101-96. It was a close game, but they just had more than us. The Nuggets lost 108-102. Similar to the Cavs game, we made a strong push in the fourth. It just wasn't enough. And then tonight, 115-109, lost to the Cavs. Nick, what would you take away as the main reason why the Nets are in this 4-game slump?
I mean, listen, we lost to the Nuggets and the Sac Kings, who are 1-2 in the West. Let's not overlook the Sacramento Kings team. I was looking at their odds to win the championship the other day. It's like plus 7,500. I was telling my buddies to get some action on that. Bill Simmons said the same thing. Why are we out or ruling this Kings out as not a top 3 championship contender?
The Kings are 3rd in the West, by the way. The Grizzlies are 2nd. We get
Grizzlies,
stats right on.
Okay, thank you for that. Sabonis is a walking double-double, and De'Aaron Fox is an all-star. Harrison Barnes is one of the most efficient shooters in the league. Just want to say that. We lost to, the 1-3 team in the West, and we lost them by 5 and 6. So, and after we beat the Nuggets a few weeks ago, actually, which is cool. I'm not going to be mad about those two. I'm going to be upset about the Thunder. A game, like you said, we started off super hot, got outscored by 18 in the third quarter by SGA, Lou Dort, and Josh Giddey. Now, don't get me wrong. SGA is an all-star. He's got it. He's got that fight in him. I like SGA a lot. I think he's super talented. Josh Giddey, cool. Gets an occasional triple-double of like 10, 10, and 10.
Handsome guy. Got one of the best flows in the league.
Lou Dort's a handsome Jack guy. Lou Dort started draining threes at one point. I don't know, man. Like, here's the thing. I could forgive the Nuggets and Kings because they are elite teams. I can't forgive the Thunder. And occasionally we have to squeak out wins against Cavs and mid-tier playoff teams like the Cavs, like the Hawks, like the Knicks, guys like that. Overall, I wasn't actually super upset at the Nuggets and Kings games, just even in how we played hard and we're competing with these good teams. But it just seems to be in the third and fourth quarters, especially the fourth, obviously, we're even losing the cohesiveness we had during the game. Like, our first quarters have been nice. Cam Johnson comes in. Dorian Smith, Finney Smith comes in. Obviously, I mentioned before he's been cold, but he's still doing his part. Seth Curry comes in, hits a couple shots. Everyone's kind of playing their role in a decent capacity.
I disagree with you on that, by the way. I don't think guys have been playing their role. I think
in the first quarter, I'm saying.
In the first quarter. Yeah, you're right.
I'm saying we're starting. Yes, pay attention. I'm saying we're starting off always against these teams looking solid, and slowly we fall apart. Slowly we stop doing the little things towards the end of the game that we were doing in the beginning of the game that were working. Claxton starts getting over aggressive. You saw it tonight, or maybe yesterday if you're listening on Wednesday. He gets over aggressive, starts getting offensive fouls. Mikal Bridges shies away from the ball. Dinwiddie abandons the pass game and starts hucking up threes. Not even his fault, because he needs to, because nobody else is stepping up. So we're doing a lot of things right. We're just not doing it consistently enough to finish the game. I mean, listen, to where we were when this new team came to be, we said this. This is an investment. This is a longer term play. How fucking long did it take for Durant and Kyrie to work together? For Durant, Kyrie, and Claxton. Kyrie started finding Claxton down low at a certain point a year and a half after playing together. So a lot of these things take time. It's just at a point right now with the playoff run where we need to actually get a couple wins that we should be getting, where we end up choking those ones too. It doesn't add up. Nuggets, Kings, I could forgive. Thunder, and a close game with the Cavs. Not that close, but we ended up coming back too late. That's where we need to start racking up some wins.
So here's some cold hard truths brought to you by Coors Light. It's a cold hard beer.
Why would you say a cold chocolate milk?
I don't, because we're not sponsored by Slate, okay?
We're not
Secrets out.
By Coors Light.
Yeah, but this segment, it made sense. People like a cold Coors Light.
No, I prefer a Bud Light.
Okay, whatever. I prefer a Miller High Life. Here's a cold hard truth about the Brooklyn Nets. If their role players aren't playing exceptionally, they don't have enough offense to beat teams. In the wins, right? Celtics, we put up 115. Rockets, 118. I'm not going to talk about the Hornets. We put up 102, but we limited them to 86. The Timberwolves and Nuggets game, 124, 122 respectively. In these last four losses, Nick, 107 against the Thunder, 96 against the Kings, 102 against the Nuggets, 109 against the Cavs. We are not our role guys, the Seth Currys, the Cam Johnsons, the Royce O'Neals, the Dorian Finney-Smiths have to shoot lights out from three for us to win these games. Now that brings me to my next cold, hard truth brought to you by my refrigerator. It's cold, it's hard refrigerator. The Nets live and die by the three. That is their offensive game plan every single game. Mikal Bridges hit a few mid-range shots. Nick Claxton score down low. Spencer Dinwiddie take a few wild, crazy layups, put him through. Outside of that, there's not really anybody else who can score within the three-point line. Joe Harris, Seth Curry, Royce O'Neal, Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson to a certain extent. He's got a little bit more in his bag than the rest of those guys, but they're all three-point shooters. So the Nets live and die by the three. Nick, shout out to Eric Slater at Eric Slater _ Nets reporter. He works for Clutch Points app. He tweeted, during the 4-game losing streak, the Nets 3-point shooting is 31.8%. That is terrible. Okay. It's absolutely horrible. And you look at that and say, well, how else are they going to get points? Nobody else other than Dinwiddie, Bridges, and Claxton is scoring. Those are the top three guys on the team. And they're only able to do so much. Claxton's not, he's not Anthony Davis. He's not Karl Anthony Towns. He's not putting up 30 a night.
He's not even Karl Anthony Davis.
He's getting you 15 to 20 on a good night, right? Tonight he had 13. Dinwiddie's great. Dinwiddie's also streaky. And we talked about Bridges and how, he's been a little bit inconsistent throughout the game. So this is a recipe for disaster if you're Brooklyn. The fact that you're not hitting your threes, the fact that role guys aren't stepping up. We talked about Yuta Watanabe. If he's going to see any time on the floor, he has to be able to shoot at least 1 3. One shot in 11 minutes is unacceptable. Seth Curry tonight. Seth Curry did absolutely nothing. I'm getting annoyed because, Nick, these are all guys that we know are more than capable. Like the fact that Seth Curry and Yuta Watanabe combined for 21 minutes and they scored 0 points, that's unacceptable. They have to be better. Joe Harris, 2 of 4 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. Okay, 6 points. He's got to be better. Everyone on this team has to be better offensively, and it starts with Mikal Bridges, your leader, right? The only one who really had a solid game tonight was Spencer Dinwiddie. So frustrating loss. We can move on. I have a few more segments before,
rapid
before
fire.
the show's over.
I'm going to name 5 rapid fire. Name 5 players with 3 names. Willie Cauley-Stein, Michael Kidd-Griffiths, Karl-Anthony Towns, Chris Douglas-Roberts,
Dorian Finney-Smith.
Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot.
Nice. Okay. So we have a little rumor has it. Ooh, is the name of this next segment. Damian Lillard was interviewed recently. He talked about, and I'm paraphrasing here, he doesn't want to stay in Portland for another rebuild. Nick Shanman, do you think Sean Marks could potentially make a move for Damian Lillard in the offseason?
I'm sorry. Did the report say at all that Damian Lillard was interested in leaving Portland?
The report saying that he's not, well, it's not really a report. He was asked a question and he talked about he doesn't want to be here for a rebuild. The Trailblazers are probably going to miss the playoffs again. Damian Lillard is still in the prime of his career, and he basically hinted
but
hey,
he never leaves every year.
Well, that's why this is a rumor, Nick. It's rumor has it is the name of the sentence, like the Adele song.
He literally just said in an interview he's so sick of all these guys talking about what's best for business is bouncing from city to city, and he cited Westbrook's career just completely on the downturn. He's so faithful to Portland. Sure, if you want me to play a hypothetical Harry and say if he's actually interested, I would fucking love Dame Lillard to come to the Brooklyn Nets. Dame Lillard is the fucking man. That guy is Mr. Clutch. He's Mr. Big Shot. He's unbelievable with a basketball in his hands. He's unfortunately never had the talent surrounding him to get far in the playoffs, but I love Dame, bro. Are you kidding me? Nurkic sucks. McCollum was awesome. Left him. I like Jeremy Grant. It's not enough. If we can get Dame Lillard, I would pay $1,000 out of my pocket in order for that transaction to go through.
Here's the exact quote. You ready? I love to play. I love the competition, and I haven't been ready to give that up. But it does come to a point in time when do you stop putting your competitive nature out front? That is a telling quote. He wants out. He wants to play for a team that's
I mean, hey,
a title
maybe this
contender.
was the last straw. Maybe this was the last straw.
Hypothetically, if our team, and obviously I think we'd have to get rid of Dinwiddie because they play the same position. If you had Damian Lillard, Mikal Bridges, and Nick Claxton as your core three, where does that put you in the East?
7th.
Really? You don't think that I don't know, man. You add Damian Lillard to this team and you sort of build around those three guys. I think we can be a 4 or 5 seed.
I mean, bro, the Phoenix Suns before Kevin Durant got there had Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Chris Paul, and DeAndre Ayton, and they're a 4th or 5th seed. So I don't know if Dame replacing Booker and Claxton replacing Ayton and not having a Chris Paul, instead we have a Cam Johnson or a Dorian Finney-Smith, really justifies putting us above a 7.
All right, this next segment is called Twitter Stuff. Pew, 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 pew. Twitter Stuff. All right, somebody tweeted, I don't really, I have the guy's Twitter because he tagged me in it, and I thought it was an interesting tweet, so I'm gonna call it out right now. Eddie Presti at NBA_CapWiz. He is the host of the Smitty and Eddie NBA show on YouTube, and he hosts the Knicks podcast. He wrote, Nets future. You can only pick one. Who are you taking? Brandon Ingram or Karl-Anthony Towns?
Brandon Ingram.
Why?
I'm done on KAT, man.
It's KAT. Cat. Just call him Cat.
Yeah,
KAT.
No, I like KAT. He's just changed. He used to be like a hungry dude fighting for his game and trying to make a name for himself in the league. He got such an ego. He got so cocky. He's a solid player, but they gave him all this talent around him. Anthony Edwards. Now he's got Gobert. Mike Conley. They had reunited Gobert and Conley. They're still not going to be anywhere near a contending team. I don't even know right now if I look at the standings. Where are they in the standings?
Karl-Anthony Towns hasn't played.
They're 8th right now, 36.
Cat hasn't played in once. Yeah.
I know that.
You take BI over Cat on this Nets team?
Ingram's a more efficient shooter. He's got more X factor. He can do more. He could play guard and he's also just lanky as shit. He's like a poor man's Durant. Not even a poor man's. He's like a mid-tier man's Durant. I take him over KAT.
I think I take Karl-Anthony Towns. I like his game. We haven't had a stretch big since I don't remember the last time we've had a stretch big. I wouldn't call Durant a big. Durant was a wing who played the 4. But I would love to have a 4 or 5 on this team. If we can play Cat with Claxton, he can hit threes. I like Cat's game better than Brandon Ingram's game. And we already have Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, so I'm not sure Ingram would make sense if we keep those two guys.
So this year, before Karl Anthony Towns went down, he was averaging 20 and 8. Ingram's averaging 23, 5 and 5. So I mean, somewhat comparable. They both shoot it at a high percentage, but yeah, nah.
All right, we're gonna look ahead. Predict the final. I believe there are 9 games left in the schedule. We play. I'm not going to say it because we're going to go one by one. But let me just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 games.
I already looked. Okay.
Okay. So let's go game by game. Cleveland at home.
Listen. I want to do this slightly differently because I want people to see exactly. We have 10 games left. Okay.
Yes.
We get to play the Magic twice, the Houston Rockets, and the Pistons. Okay. Those teams are all bottom of the East and the West. Those should be 4 wins. Like, those cannot be losses. So out of the next 10,
yeah. No, you go on.
So I'm saying those should be 4 must-win games against bad teams. That leaves the toss-up games, right?
Yes.
The Atlanta Hawks, who are sitting at the bottom of the East playoff, or sitting 8th in the East, the bottom of the playoff positions. The Timberwolves, who are sitting at the bottom of the playoff contention in the West. And I'm going to even put the Jazz as a mid-tier team that we should be able to beat, or we could beat, right? So that gives us, because right now the Jazz are 10th. They're actually behind the Timberwolves. They should be even easier than the Timberwolves. So now we're playing 4 bottom-of-the-barrel teams, or 4 bottom-of-the-barrel games, 3 medium games, and then we're seeing 3 challenging games. Can you tell me what those challenging games are?
Miami, Philadelphia, and I guess it's Cleveland?
And Cleveland.
Yeah.
And Cleveland.
Okay.
So right now, if I had to say, we're going to get 4 wins, 2 Magic, 1 Rockets, 1 Pistons. Yeah. That's the first 4. We're going to beat the Jazz. That's another one. I just don't think the Jazz are that good. Okay, and I think we're going to lose to the T-Wolves. I think we're going to lose to the Heat and the Sixers.
The Sixers game might be a wash because they might be resting their guys. Don't play. Yeah.
I think this game coming up, and not to be dramatic, against the Cavs, this game on Thursday is so fucking important. Because if we win this game and we get momentum going into this 9-game stretch at the end, where we actually could play some crappy teams and get some big wins, this is the turning point. We lose to the Cavs, pressure's on even more. We drop another game. Now we might be looking at a 7th, 8th seed, maybe even a play-in game. We start getting on a crappy streak. So I'm going to say we go 6-4.
6-4.
But we need to beat the Cavs in order to happen. I'm going to say we go 6-4 on the contingency that we beat the Cleveland Cavaliers. If we lose, we're going 4-6.
Okay, so I'll go quick. I'll go win on Thursday against Cleveland at home, loss to Miami, win in Portland, win against Houston.
Who is Portland?
Oh, I meant Orlando. I'm sorry. I meant Houston. No, Portland. I said Portland?
You said Portland.
Okay, let's start again. Win against Cleveland. Loss against Miami. You're 1-1. Win against Orlando. You're 2-1. Win against Houston. You're 3-1. Loss against Atlanta. You're 3-2. Win against Utah. You're 4-2. Loss against Minnesota. You're 4-3. Win against Detroit. You're 5-3. Win against Orlando. You're 6-3. Depending on that last game against Philadelphia, if they rest guys or not, I'm going to say Nets finish the season 7-3.
Which would put us at 46-36 on the season.
All right. And where do you think they finish the season standing wise?
I think we're lucky if we don't drop. So I'm going to hope and say we finish 6th where we are right now. We're 2.5 behind the Knicks. Sorry, we're 3.5 behind the Knicks.
Yeah.
In fifth. I don't see a way in which we pass the Knicks, especially considering how hot they've been the past couple of weeks. So I'm going to say sixth. We need to finish in sixth.
I know I just predicted they finished 7-3. I feel like somehow Miami or Atlanta is going to finish better than us. I can see us finishing seventh, maybe eighth. Maybe we drop. I'm not sure.
I honestly would prefer to play the Celtics right now because the Celtics are kind of looking
Celtics
shitty.
have been dwindling. I see us as the seventh seed as the season ends. I don't see us not. I don't see us avoiding the play-in tournament. Like, we're gonna have to play in that play-in tournament again for the fucking second straight year. That's what we got. So Nick's got the Nets 6-4, finishing in the 6th seed. I got the Nets 7-3, finishing in the 7th seed. Not sure how that math checks out, but hey, neither of us were math majors in college.
Especially not you, you dumb idiot.
I'm going to take that as a compliment, and we're going to finish the episode on a high note because, listen, even though the Nets have been struggling, we're still a family here at Nets World, Nets Nation. Shout out to all the Nets fans listening. It took a lot for Nick and I to want to record tonight because we have been super busy with a ton of stuff in our personal lives. But you know what? That doesn't matter because when the Nets play basketball, we all shut our mouths up. We stop worrying about anything going on in our personal lives, whether someone's sick, whether they're incarcerated, whatever the case may be. And we root for the Brooklyn Nets and we cheer on our basketball team because that's what matters most.
Great.
Do you agree?
Yes.
All right. Well, anyways, thanks for listening, guys. This was episode 143 of Fireside Nets, brought to you by Empire Sports Media. And as always, Nick, send us home.
Yeah,